everyone, my name is Shrishti Sharma and I'm the chairperson of Sydenham Alumni Cell.
Hello everyone, I'm Rajiv Podar. I'm the HOD of PDD department of the Alumni Cell.
Today we've gathered here under the initiative that the Sydenham Alumni Cell has taken, known as Alumni Fair. And we'll be meeting one of the most prominent alumni, Mr. Rajiv Podar is the Managing Director of the Podar Enterprises. He has been actively involved in the day-to-day business. Mr. Podar was the president of the IMC Chambers of Commerce and Industry for 21-22.
We are here at the Podar House and let's go and meet him. Good afternoon, sir. My first question would be, what are your most important qualities that made you a good leader, and can an introvert become a good leader?
Yeah, so a very good afternoon and thank you for this interview. So I think a good leader should be having the ability to communicate clearly. If his vision is clear, it makes a good leader. That's my thought process. Dedicated hard work is obviously needed for success. An introvert can definitely be a good leader as long as he is able to not be an introvert for his team. He has to lead the team. So if you are an introvert when being a team leader, you cannot be obviously. But if you are an introvert by nature in public, that's fine. Obviously nowadays with more social media, you have to be in the social public life, etc. But yet, I don't think that's a hindrance, but it's a disadvantage.
How was your experience when you started off as a leader?
No, I was a big introvert. I was very shy till I entered Sydenham. And I think my exposure with Sydenham actually made me more an extrovert because I started taking active part in the various societies also. It helped me a lot.
Okay. My second question would be, looking at the current global market situation where big organizations are laying off their employees, what do you think will be like, what can be expected? Are there good expected opportunities?
Opportunities available now for students. So today's, I think, yeah, you're right, there's a lot of layoff because technology is playing a part. B, global markets are at its, you see, Europe is under recession. America is also hit, although it's reviving a bit. The geopolitical has changed globally. So that is a challenge at the moment. But the opportunities for India are huge in terms of tech or digital or cloud computing, AI. These are some of the opportunities I think will be big time as we go forward.
So what are like the finance students, and I would say like the commerce college, we are a commerce college mostly, right? So what are the opportunities that we have as students?
Well, see, as a commerce graduate, you obviously would have to look at my thought is you have to look at going into higher skills.
Yeah.
Just a simple BCom degree today is, I think, not of much value, is my own assessment of the market. You have to look at skills which would be more on analytics or more practical knowledge is needed. Today, unfortunately, our education system is very theoretical. We don't give experience to our students. So when they come to the job market, they find themselves a bit lost in the terms of working and in terms of employment. So this is something which government is trying with the NEP to bring in the skilling. But for a commerce graduate, they have to obviously look at finance, or they have to look at something beyond what they've learned as just a BCom.
Okay, thank you. My third question would be, could you share your experience being the president of the IMC chain?
That's a great experience, frankly. It gave me a lot of exposure. I'm not too much into public life, so it gave me a great exposure and a great learning on terms of how to address meetings, how to interact with the government, how to make presentations for whether it was with the finance minister or it was with the commerce minister, making representation on behalf of the industry. So this was something very new to me, as an organization. So when I became IMC president, it was a great learning and experience. And we have 27 subcommittees. So working with each subcommittee and seeing that we have programs which are value added to the industry was a great experience.
How did that sudden responsibility affect you? Like you were already working.
Yeah, so when you take up such a responsibility, practically you have to give up work almost because you're almost there. I mean, I was working about 32 hours a day on my own office work. The balance time I was at IMC. It was a COVID year, so it was more difficult in some terms. So we had to do everything online, and all our programs, we had 160 programs plus in the year. So you can imagine the amount of organization is needed to work on that. Of course, IMC has a great staff. We have 70 plus people, but yet you have, as a leader, you have to motivate your chairmen, committee chairmen and co-chairmen, and see that work is done. So it was a great learning.
So what's your advice for students, like how to manage your day-to-day responsibilities and stuff?
Time management is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So if you can't manage time, you can't manage your responsibilities. I am an old-fashioned guy. I get right on paper what I have to achieve today on my task list, and then I follow that task list, how much I have covered. So that's one thing which I think is very important. And second is to make it a habit that whatever you've written on your task list, unless it's due to external forces, you should complete it, whatever the time. Even if it's late in the night, you should work on it.
As you said, you still use paper and pen and jotting down the tasks. So how was your experience in the new technological?
I'm not a tech person, so frankly, I'm not very high tech. So I find it challenging. I don't know how kids can manage. They can read, they can edit, and they can write on the computer. I can't do it, honestly. I'm yet a paper pen pencil.
Okay. So if you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently this time? What do you want to know? What did you wish that you know before or at the time of your college?
You mean in terms of education?
Yeah. And anything knowledge, like how you started?
No, I think it was a great experience to be in Sydenham, first of all. I want to repeat that. If I have to do it again, I would look at more skilling. I didn't have practical training. I was rather lucky from second year onwards. I started going to our factories and working half day because Sydenham timings were very good. But I think if I would have preferred a better skilling, and I would have preferred a 1 year, probably a job outside my organization. It's not good to join your own organization, become a boss on day one. If you're working outside, you get far more exposure. So I put my son actually into working outside the company. I gave him 4 or 5 internships he took. So there are different culture, different habits, different techniques which other organizations use. We are used to a certain pattern and we think it's the best. But there are so many more things which are happening in the world which are better than ours. So you learn that when you go to organizations outside yours.
Thank you, sir. My next question is, what entrepreneurial tricks have you discovered to keep you focused and productive in your day-to-day business schedule?
So to keep focus, I think, as I said, making a schedule is very important. Because you know what you have to achieve in the day. People make long-term plans. We do also 2 years, 5 years. Nowadays there is no time to make 5-year plans because everything is rapidly changing. Whole situation changes in a short time. But you have to plan for the future, but you should have a day-to-day target. That will keep you focused. Once you know this I have to achieve today, you will be focused to achieve.
Okay, this helped you in your entrepreneurial development?
Yeah, I think that's helped me a lot.
Okay. Do you feel college adequately prepare the students to find a good job?
It's not the college, actually it's the education system. I don't blame the college because college can do nothing much about it unless they add skills to it, which the college can do as an addition to the BCom. But then the students are not ready to work that hard. They are happy with their schedule or whatever timing they've got in college. So if they are ready for that, there's a huge opportunity. And many colleges are doing it. Even my own college, which is in a native place, I have started offering skill to them. After those who are doing BCom or whatever, BS, they are going in for skilling, most college hours.
Yeah.
But very few takers.
What do you think should be added in the curriculum?
Skilling, practical
What kind of
training.
skills, like, for-
So any skill set, any managerial skill set, it should be given. Project skill sets, you go and work on a job. If you are interested on anything which interests you, it's something you should take up as a part of the curriculum. See, the US curriculum has the flexibility which India MEP is also bringing in to change. Today, if, for example, you have taken BCom, you're stuck to BCom all your life. I mean, in the sense you can't leave it. Your BSc or BA won't take you. Now, you're stuck if you made a decision in class 11 that you want to do a commerce. You should have the flexibility to move around. You may be interested, let's say, in some part of biology if you are supposing or whichever, chemistry.
Yeah.
But you can't move. So there should be that flexibility is very important, which the American system does offer. Because it's a credit-based system. So that's needed and it's coming. I mean, he's working on that.
So when you started off in our college, did you had it that time in your mind that you had to do business only?
We didn't have choice. So it is not there was no much choice because we were drilled in to look after the business.
So like if you had a chance, what would you have become? What would you have done differently?
No, as I said, I don't know because we didn't have a choice. So we were just stuck to learning, and my learning was started with just sitting with my father and watching him. And that's all I did. I used to be in office from afternoon and just watch him talk to people or whatever he's discussing with the team. And that's how we picked up business, and I think it was great learning. And I was very lucky because my father actually, when I was 20, he gave me a project to run on my own. And I made lots of mistakes, lots. I mean, and I have spoken this many times. But that taught me a lot of things. So when you make mistakes, you learn that this is wrong and you should improve on it. So if you don't make the mistake and just read, you may do it again. If you made it, lost something, you then be more conscious of it.
Yeah.
That helped.
Okay. Thank you. My last question. How would you advise today's youth to plan their future?
What happens is, and to some extent even parents are responsible for this. They tell their student or child, no, you must do this. So because why? There's more opportunities, let's say in engineering. I'm just saying it. But my heart is not in engineering. Or I don't want to be a doctor, whatever it is. I don't want to be a big. So that, the passion of course I think is the key. Secondly, be a good listener. I think you learn a lot if you listen. Today we students don't have the patience to listen. I'm sorry, I'm not saying it for anybody in particular, I'm just saying in general. Our concentration span has gone down. That's what I see in the students, and at least whatever my experience in interaction. And there are of course exceptions like yours, but generally there are the concentration span has to be. Third is hard work. There's no substitute in life. So you want a shortcut. There's nothing a shortcut. You have to work to reach where you want to. These 3 points I would say
Okay.
on my side.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking time.
Thanks, pleasure. Wonderful.